Come and see when reputation lies. Nathaniel raised a question that still echoes today. And that question is, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? That question was not theological, it was reputational. Nazareth had a name, not because of documented facts, but because of assumptions. It was small, it was overlooked, it was insignificant. It wasn't known for power, it wasn't known for prestige, it wasn't known for its pedigree, so people assumed nothing meaningful could come from there. And unfortunately, that kind of thinking is still alive. In the South, in my experience, when you meet someone for the first time, there are usually two questions that come early in the conversation. Who are your folks? And what do you do for a living? Those questions are not just polite curiosity, they are classification. They help people decide where to place you on the social ladder. Before they know your character, before they know your convictions, before they know your calling, they have already started assigning you a spot. Nazareth worked the same way. Once people heard what Jesus was from and who he was connected to, they thought they already knew what he could be. Reputation replaced relationship. And sometimes people are not judged because of what they have done, but because of who they are related to. A last name becomes a liability. A family story becomes a ceiling. A parent's failure becomes a child's sentence. Sociologists call this intergenerational labeling. Intergenerational labeling is when reputations are passed down, even though character is not. Psychologists would say it is guilt by association. In plain language, it means people stop seeing you and start seeing history. That is dangerous because history explains context, but it does not define destiny. Nathaniel had never met Jesus when he asked that question. He had not heard him teach. He had not seen him heal. He had not witnessed his compassion. Yet he had already reached a conclusion. That is what prejudice does. It answers questions before evidence arrives. Prejudice is not always loud hatred. Sometimes it is quiet dismissal. Sometimes it is quiet dismissal. Sometimes it's never giving someone a real chance. But notice Philip's response. He responds with wisdom. He doesn't argue. He doesn't defend Nazareth. He does not try to clean up Nazareth's reputation. He simply says, "Come and see." In other words, don't let rumor be your revelation. Don't let assumptions do the thinking for you. Get close enough to see what God is actually doing. Because God has always worked through people and places others underestimated. Nazareth was overlooked, but it produced the Savior. David was the youngest, but God chose him. Joseph came from a dysfunctional family, but God used him to preserve a nation. God does not confuse lineage with calling. People pass down habits. People pass down trauma. People pass down broken patterns. But God passes down grace. But God passes down grace. Psychology tells us that once people make up their minds about someone, they start filtering everything through that belief. They look for what confirms it and ignore what challenges it. So if someone expects nothing good, they won't recognize good even when it shows up standing right in front of them. That is why Philip's invitation matters. Come and see. Not come and assume. Not come and repeat what you heard. Come and see. And when Nathaniel fully encounters Jesus for himself, his whole perspective changes. That is what happens when assumptions meet reality. That is what happens when rumors collide with truth. So before we ask, can any good thing come out of there? We ought to ask, what might be God hiding there? Because God specializes in pulling purpose out of unlikely places, overlooked people, and misunderstood names. The answer is still yes. Something good can come from there. Something good can come from you. Something good can come from places people never thought to look. All you have to do is come and see. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to be open and not narrow-minded when we see people, and not be hampered or plagued by our prejudicial thoughts or our implicit biases. We have to work through and on those areas that may be plaguing us. Because the reality of the matter is we all have implicit biases. We all have some prejudicial thoughts that creep in and out of our heads, but we have to challenge those. So I challenge you today to challenge those implicit biases, those explicit biases, those prejudicial thoughts that may be in your head or that are in your head, and know that God can bring someone out of those places that you may be thinking that are inferior. If this teaching, if this topic has been beneficial to you, please like it, share it, and if you've yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so. Thank you for your time, and may God's light continue to shine upon you.